Hello, everyone. This is Sarah speaking from Heart to Heart Outreach. And I just want to welcome everybody today that will be listening to this video. I have divided this topic because it's quite long into two videos. So I'm going to start with video one. And then mothers of narcissists tend to infantilize their children. And then one trait that nearly all narcissistic parents have in common is the need to infantilize their children. This can be as a direct making of the child feel like incompetent, they can't do things for themselves. It is very subtle when the mother practices it in the beginning of a child's life. They step in as if they are coming to help the child. So don't get me wrong, there are times in a child's life, depending on what age they are, where we step in to do things for the child. But in normal parenting, we step in to do things for the child with the idea and the aim of teaching the child and getting them to learn how to do that thing next time. So we are not going to be there all the time showing them all through their life how to do the same thing. So we show them in the beginning, and then at a later stage when they are a certain age, then we expect them to know how to do that. But it's not so with the narcissistic mother, because there's an agenda, a psychological agenda behind why they need to do things for their child. So the reason is they want the child to feel incompetent. They want to scar the self-confidence of the child so that the child will end up depending on the mother. The child will end up losing a confidence of the knowledge that they are capable of doing things. Then they can always run to the mother for help, no matter how old in life they would be. So the mom knows that's a programming, that's a training. And then why is the mom doing this? The mom is doing this because the mom is narcissistic, remember. And we did say that narcissistic people thrive on getting positive feedback from other people. We call it supply. So that positive affirmation, that praise, that pat on the shoulder, that attention, that's what we call supply. So they need this child to always be there to supply all those things all their life. The child views the mom as the best thing ever because my mom knows how to do things that I don't know how to do. So we know that narcissistic personality always has to have someone that they regard as lower than them, because it's all to do with ego, and then they have to be higher and people around them have to be lower. So now in this case is the mom now using the child as a supply, so the child has to remain lower so the mom can always be lifted up. So when they do things for the child, they have that sense of I am higher, I am more important, I'm more intelligent, I'm more knowledgeable, even though it's their child. That's just how twisted it is in this personality. So I'm going to give a dictionary definition of infantilization. This is the act of prolonging an infantile state in a person by treating them as an infant. In other words, deliberately treating someone as being much younger than their actual age. This happens at any age the child can be. The mother never lets go of the child. They never regard their child as a grown man. If in the case of a man, so the man can be 45, can be 30, can be 50. The mom is going to treat them just like they were 2 years old. And onlookers can see the interactions between the mom, even though the mom, when they are out in the open, will try and hide it. But it always kind of like pops up. People that have the knowledge can pick up that something is not right between these two. So the narcissistic parents do this because they see their child as an extension of themselves. So they treat their child as if it's their second half, and they can't survive without the son. In reality, they can't, because the son is supplying the things that they need for them to thrive, for them to feel good, for them to function. They need the constant admiration from the son. So in this case, they haven't gone out, they are doing it within the household, and they are training this child to be that supply for their life. So if the child maybe starts to realize that the mom is not quite right, then, and they pull back, that means they withdraw the supply. The mom will start to guilt trip the child, blame and shame, and then those defense mechanisms are going to traumatize the child, and then they are not emotionally nice, and the child will now be drawn back to do what the mom demands them to be. So to avoid the pain, the child will have to comply, and then this carries on. Is something that the child is now aware of, but they are trapped in it. They can't really pull away, because if they pull away, then they get attacked by the mom psychologically, emotionally, and then they have to come back. So for them to have a peaceful life, they have to do what the mom says they must do, even though it's not really said. It is a message that is unspoken, but the child can pick that up, that mom wants me to do this. She's happy when I do this. She applauds me when I do this. She gives me good things when I do this. So the child learns, even if the mom doesn't really actually ask, but the mom sends those messages, those unspoken messages, that the child will pick up. And in order to combat this threat that the child is now beginning to realize what the mom is all about, and the mom is now fearing that the child will end up leaving, and then when the child leaves, they will lose out on the supply. The mom will try and undermine the child's growing independence in various ways. This can include giving them the message that they lack the ability to handle things, or they talk down to them, in a way that is belittling. And then some of the ways that the mom will employ to manipulate the child to comply with the supply is disapproval. This can take a form of looks that silently tell the child that they have failed in their eyes, or it can be pointed questions regarding the lifestyle of the child, their choices, their decision making. So everything that the child does is rubbished according to the mom, and then this leaves the son never learns confidence. They never learn that they can do things. They never learn that they are capable, because everything that they do by themselves without going via the mom is rubbished. And if you are rubbished at all, then you learn that from home. Then you don't really have that confidence that you are capable of doing everything. So the mom then puts themselves in that place where they are going to be doing everything for this child at any level, at any age. They will be doing things for this child. In the eyes of the world, the world can see the son, who is now a big man, as a successful person, but behind closed doors, the mom is the one that is doing everything for them. They are just there as standing there as a name, to a project, but the actual person that is doing things would be the mom. So interference is number two. Mom interferes in every area of the son's life, including when the son is at that place where he's grown enough now to look at girls and choose a girlfriend, or maybe get into marriage. The mom will interfere. And the reason the mom interferes, it also goes back to the mom being afraid that the son will eventually leave. And if this son leaves, who is going to give me supply? What's going to happen to me? I'm going to disintegrate. I'm nothing without my son. Because in this personality, they have to have someone who will always give them fill that void. So the son has now taken that place of filling the void. So the mom is going to do everything that they do, that the son will never leave, sabotaging their relationships, maybe even work, or jobs or whatever, just so the son can stay put at home We are going to discuss two facts about narcissistic parenting. And fact number one, this type of parents, they can't develop the ability to empathize with others. They can never learn to love. So remember that these parents are also narcissistic. So, they are raising up a child to be narcissistic because that's all they know. They don't know any better themselves. The narcissistic parent sees the child merely as a possession who can be used to further their own self-interest. And they often have issues with boundaries, both physically, emotionally, and they can unload a lot of emotional baggage on a 2-year-old. So it starts very young, where the mom would talk with a 2-year-old. I'm just giving an example, a child of that age, like they are talking to a friend, like they are talking to a partner, or they are talking to an adult. And then let's say maybe they encountered a problem during the day, they come back and then somebody had done them wrong, so they want to vent out. They vent out on a 5-year-old. That child is not, grown up enough to carry that baggage, that is emotional baggage that is coming out of the mom. Because remember, when somebody offloads on you, even if it's not about you, it's about them, it affects you too. So you have to be grown up enough to carry that baggage and help this person offload on you. But they do it on a child, and that is very much affecting of the child. That is because of lack of boundaries. They don't have boundaries at all. They treat the child as an adult, they treat adult as children. Narcissists also view the world in a binary way, that things are either extremely bad or things are perfect. So with them, it's either you are perfect or they just outrightly rubbish you out. So the child can be a source of comfort for them, and the child can also be a punching bag. When they need to let out their anger, their rage, they do it on the child. When they are happy, go lucky, they do it on the child as well. So the child grows up in this environment where they don't know, what will come today. How will my mom be today? So they are always uncertain of the home environment, which is very uncertain. This now leaves the child in a place where he has to thrive to please the mom, to have a nice home environment. He has to always please the mom. So now what happens is that the child forgets about their own needs. The child forgets about their own emotions. They suppress them. The child forgets about their own decisions, their own choices. Everything goes. The child literally stops to live. So it's only the mom who lives, because the child is living to make the mom happy. If mom is happy, I will be happy. The home environment will be happy. And the mom will give the child back unconditional love. If the child is giving them that supply, the mom will reward the child. Then the child will know, okay, if I do this, I get rewarded. Mom is happy, and then she gives me this. Then it goes on until the child is a grown man who is always looking to to please the mom. Even when they are grown up, even when they are married, they have their own wife. The main thing is to make sure that mom is happy, because if mom is happy, then I will be happy as well. When kids grow up, they become stronger, more confident, more brave. Narcissist parents see them as a direct threat. We said this before. And out of desperation, the child thrives now to please the mom. Some of the common tactics that are used by these mothers, narcissistic mothers, to bring the child to conformity, to be the supply that never ends. Creating unhealthy competitions. So you find this mom who competes with her own child. You know, I mean, that's very unhealthy. The mom is there to encourage the child. The mom is there to make the child win, you know, not to be the one that beats the child in any game or anything, you know, anything that they're doing. But the mom can also sometimes, if in a healthy parent-child relationship, the parent will hold back and give the child a sense of winning, even though the parent could have easily won, but they hold back just so they can make the child win, and that builds a child's confidence. Not so with a narcissistic mother. Narcissistic mother has to win and make this child know that they are a failure. So the child grows up knowing they are a failure from childhood, and they can never have that confidence to be able to do things and believe that they can do things, and they can make things happen. And then they use guilt and blame. They give ultimatums, and they are putting the child down to try to keep their self-confidence low. Fact number 2. Narcissistic parents are exclusively and possessively close to their children and are threatened by their children's growing independence. We keep coming back to this because it's a main thing. That's a main feature in the parenting style of this type of parents. This results in a pattern of narcissistic attachment, with the parent considering that the child exists solely to fulfill the parent's needs and wishes. We talked about the child being the supply to the mother. And the narcissistic parent will often try to control the child with threats and emotional abuse. The mother behaves in such a way that treats the child in such a, they actually groom the child in such a way that the child will feel guilty if they neglected in inverted commas, because the child can never neglect the parent. But in narcissistic parenting, the child is viewed as having neglected the mother. And the mother will not say that, but they will send a message to the child to say, you have neglected me. For example, a child goes out to play with friends, and then during that time that the child is out, the mother needs the supply from the child, and the child is not in the house. When the child comes back, the mother will guilt trip that child to say, you neglected me for 4 hours today. You went out with your friend. The mother has a way of conveying that message, and the child will feel guilty, and then maybe the child will get a little bit of a punishment, psychological, you know, emotional punishment from the mom because they went out. The next time they just don't go out because they don't want to experience what they experienced the other day. So that's how they groom them. And narcissistic people have low self-esteem, and they feel the need to control how others regard them, fearing that otherwise they will be blamed or rejected, and their personal inadequacies will be exposed. So they are always, narcissistic people are always controlling their environment. They are controlling how people view them. That's the reason why they demand, they do it in a subtle way, in a psychological way, but they demand approval, they demand admiration, they demand love, they demand what, praise, from who they regard as their supply. Not everybody though, but who they regard as their supply. So they control that environment because it makes them exist, it makes them feel good, it makes them kind of like really live, because they are in a constant turmoil. The psychological being is really shattered in a narcissistic personality. So they need those reinforcements for them to survive. Otherwise, they will, you know, just crumble in a depressive, you know, heap, becomes suicidal, and some of them, they even take their lives at a later stage. So that's how, you know, it can be very horrendous, where this type of personality. And it goes on to say narcissistic parents are self-absorbed, often to the point of grandiosity. They also tend to be inflexible and lack the empathy necessary for childbearing. Can you imagine? The love of mom is lacking in these people. The love of mom that wants to see their children do better, their children excel, their children go beyond where they have gone themselves. Not so with the competitive narcissistic parent. They will always want the children to be lower than them, because it makes them feel like they are a better person. And then there are other ways that narcissistic parents manipulate their children. We are going to look at some of them, not all of them though. The main way is possessiveness, and the narcissistic mother deliberately cultivate dependence on their children. We spoke a lot about this, because it's a huge problem in these parenting styles. Example, I'm going to give an example of an adult son who may be a preacher, whose mother required him to call her wherever he is, several times a day without fail, even when the child is a man. The mother induces guilt in the child when they fail to do so. This carries on whether the child is married and they are with their spouse or not. When the child fails to do this, they are guilt-tripped by the mother. To avoid this guilt, the child will do everything they can to make those calls. So they can be in an important meeting, they could be even speaking, and a text comes in to say, call me, where are you? The mother needs supply now. And then the poor child will do everything that they can to have an excuse to leave the room so they can make the call. Because if they didn't, when they get home, they are in for it, and they have experienced that before. They don't want to see that. So they would rather calm the storm by doing what the mother wants and come back and finish what they were doing. It's horrendous, and it does happen. Parents who would say to their child, if you love mommy, you will do this. That's a manipulative way. That's a conditional love. You are conditioning your child to say, I will love you if you do this for me. You can never love the child whether they are naughty, whether they don't do things for you, whether they are problematic. You still love them anyway. No, you love them only when they do that which you want them to do for you, not even for them, for you. So the child grows up in this environment where they know, I'm only loved when I do things for mom. If I don't, then mom gets angry with me. And this is letting children believe that her love for them depends on how good they are. Love of a parent shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be conditional. Causes of infantilization. We are going to look at what causes infantilization. What causes these mothers to treat their adult children like, toddlers. They vary, why they treat someone the way they do when the person is really an adult. The main reason is so that the mom can feel superior. We did say that the child is now in the life of the mom, is serving a purpose of bringing supply, making the mom feel good, filling the void. So the mom is infantilizing this child so that it can make her feel good all the time and feel superior. Children who are now adults may find that their parents refuse to see them as such. Instead, these parents are micromanaging their children's activities. Like, a grown man who can't draw his own timetable. He has to present what he needs to do, or maybe present just for the sake of presenting. This is what I would like to do. But the mom has to be the final person to okay it. And if she does okay it, she's going to draw the timetable for the son. That everything that happens in the life of that grown man is what the mom would like it to go, how she would like it to go, and what it should be and how it should be, and with who, even coming into controlling who the son can work with, who the son can, interact with, who the son can befriend. All those things, they are incorporated in all that. That's the control at its max, And this type of children will still be single and living at home. We are talking about a man now, a man who's a grown man. They will still be living at home whether they are married or not. Most of them are not. It raises alarm when you find a man in his 50s or 40s, actually 40s, who is still living at home and has no wife. They're still living with their mom. I mean, it doesn't need a degree to start, seeing red flags there. And then, so they will still be living at home. Some are married. The mom has somehow allowed it to happen. But she is the middle person between the pair of them. So if the son has married a wife, the mom will make sure that she lives with them. If they live in their own house, she's coming to live with them. Otherwise, they come and live with her in her own house. And she will always make sure that she is in between. So it is the wife on the left, the husband on the right, the mom in the middle. So everything that the husband wants to say or do with the wife has to come through the mom. Nothing bypasses the mom. Otherwise, the son will be in deep, deep, deep trouble. This is just how it is, and it's real. Is real. You may think, if you haven't experienced it, you may think that maybe it's just something, but this happens a lot in people that have been affected by this, and that would come and ask for help, maybe in psychiatry. Then they open up, this used to happen in my marriage, the wife is now seeking help because she was so damaged psychologically and emotionally. Then they tell, what happened in their marriage, and his mom used to do this. We hear this a lot. These things do happen. It's horrendous. As I'm speaking right now, you think, it's something that never really happens. It does happen. Now, we are going to look at types of narcissistic parents. The first one is ignoring narcissists. These are parents that they show very little interest in their children. They perceive their children as a threat and therefore deliberately choose not to put an effort in their betterment and upbringing. Engulfing narcissists is number two. These are parents that are obsessively involved in their children's lives. It goes back to where the mother will choose life partners for their son. The mother will stop their son from getting a life partner, things like that. Because the aim here is that the son must never leave the mom, because the son has to stay there and keep on bringing that supply that the mom so very much need. So in so doing, they are forcing their own identity to their children and become frustrated when the child deviates from it. This causes lack of boundaries, because then the mom kind of like denies the child's individuality. The child can never develop individualism. It's an enmeshed, they call it an enmeshed relationship. The child is not, it doesn't feel complete without the mom. The mom doesn't feel complete without the son. So there's a codependency. Both of them are sick to the core, and they have affected each other to the core. But in most cases, it's the son that has been affected more by the mom. Problems caused by infantilization. It can create a sense of dread about interacting with their parents. They dread interacting with their parents. They do it just to comply and not to be punished. The child may end up cutting off contact with their parents if they are strong enough, because some children will remain with their mom until death do us part, because they never developed that strength. Even though they saw that something was wrong, they didn't get the guts to say, no, I'm going to set strong boundaries. Mom, I love you, but I'm going to leave. But some will stay until thy kingdom comes. and it can create an unhealthy internal dialogue within the child. Remember that this creates a turmoil within the child. The child loves the mom as the mom, is her mom, is his mom. And then the child hates the mom and resent her for treating him and, denying him his individuality, denying him his, choices and his, authenticity. It's a resentment love kind of a relationship. So this dialogue goes on forever and ever. He goes to his friends as houses sometimes. He sees how his friends interact with their mothers, and then he knows that this is what I would like to have. Then he knows that that's never happened with him and his mom. So when he goes home, he dreads even going home. The adult child may become hesitant to make decisions without consulting their parents. They develop self-doubt in decision making and judgment, because before, when they tried to make decisions and make their own judgments, they were rubbished all their lives. So they've given up now. If mom doesn't do it, I'm not going to even try. Their self-confidence and self-worth go low, and they judge themselves under the harsh filter of their parents' comments and actions. And then we have general problems that arises as a result of unhealthy parenting styles. A child raised by a narcissistic parents will be left feeling empty and insecure in loving relationships, develop imagined fears, they mistrust others. They experience identity conflict, which may lead to even gender confusion, especially in the case of a mother-son kind of relationship. Suffering an inability to develop a distinct existence from that of the parent. They can't separate themselves from the parent. They will always run back to the mom. Sensitive, they are always sensitive, guilt-ridden, and they learn to meet the parents' needs for gratification, and they seek love by accommodating the wishes of the parent. So they never really live for themselves. Nothing really makes them happy. They have to make the mom happy. Nobody cares about them. Their feelings, their needs, they've been ignored all their life. So all they know is that they are there to make the mom happy, to meet the needs of the mom. Guilt and shame keep the child locked in a developmental arrest. And aggressive impulses and rage, they become a split off and not integrated with normal development. The child develops a false self as a defense mechanism and become codependent in relationships. So it's not only with the mom now, it's in relationship as a whole. And then the child unconscious denial of their true self perpetuate a cycle of self-hatred, fearing any reminder of their authentic self. So anything that goes near reminding them of their true self who lacks confidence, their true self who has a deep void inside, their true self who is never happy, their true self who has riddled with self-doubts and all that. They don't want anything near there. So that's the reason why they project this self-confidence out there. They project this all-knowing, all-powerful, superior image to people out there. It's all a facade. It's not true. Their true self has been riddled in childhood with low self-esteem and inadequacies. So they have a tendency to use substances. I think in one of my videos I mentioned this, that they tend to numb that turmoil inside of them, with substances. As the son grows intellectually and physically, his emotions are basically arrested, and he always feels like he needs to satisfy the mom's wishes and demands. The son really never grow emotionally outside of his mother's control. His confidence, self-respect, and clearly his identity are all tied up with the mom's approval. So everything he does, even in relationship with his spouse, when he marries, is all based on mother's needs. So it has to be the mother that approves of everything that he does, even when he is big enough. And he will experience difficulties connecting emotionally with people in a healthy way. The other effects are that of mental health. It is believed that children of narcissistic parents have significantly higher rates of depression and lower self-esteem during adulthood than those who did not perceive their caregivers as narcissistic. The parents' lack of empathy towards their child contributes to this, as the child's desires are often denied, their feelings restrained, and their overall emotional well-being ignored. It's all about the mom. The child never existed. His needs, his wants, his emotions, his whatever he likes have never mattered. All that mattered was what the mother needed, and they had to be the person to bring those things to be for the mom. So it's always been about the mom. Even in adulthood, you will see this person. His behavior, his concern is always around the mom. His everything, the world can come to a standstill. If the mom has a need, they have to do that. It's normal for children to do that, but they in this type of relationship, mother-son relationship, or any child whatsoever, it becomes a bit abnormal to a point where it raises questions and question marks. Children of narcissistic parents are taught to submit and conform, causing them to lose their individuality. I talked about this as well. And this can lead to an adult child who has very few memories of a loving moments with true, authentic loving moments with their mother. All they remember is being appreciated for what they can do. And if they couldn't do what they were supposed to do, then hell would break out. It's just how these people were raised, which led to who they are when they are adults. The mother wrongly views their child as an extension of themselves. The enmeshed relationship blurs the child's identity to a point where the child cannot separate himself to the mom. Relationship issues is another one. The child grows to view friends, family, co-workers, or generally everyone in their sphere of life as a means to an end. That's a main feature of narcissistic personality disorder. They use people. They are very good at using people for their own ends. Remember that this child was used by his mom. They grew up having to supply the mom's needs. So they learn that people are there to supply your needs. They learn that people exist for you. They learn that people they have what you need, and you have to force them to give you what they need. Hence, they come up with these manipulative techniques, because under normal circumstances, people would not just willingly do what the narcissist wants, so they are now going to have to force what they need in that person's life to come into to them. They are going to employ mechanisms to force it to come, just so it can benefit them and make them successful. you know um, and they do this by manipulation and control. Huge challenges in marriages. When a mother and son have an unhealthy relationship, it causes him to struggle with setting boundaries and detach from his mother. This becomes a problem when he is involved in a romantic relationship, let alone marriage. His wife may feel as if she always has to compete with the husband's mother, so it can cause a rift between her and her husband. Mothers of narcissists are known to deliberately compete with the son's girlfriends or wives and sabotage the relationship. It happens. They are known to do that. The son will never settle in any romantic relationship. When it starts to get serious, the mother notices that the woman actually loves her son, and that the son is actually getting drawn to the woman. She will do everything that she can to pull the son away from the woman until that relationship breaks. The fear of her son leaving her and the supply ending is supersedes anything, any bright future for the son. It supersedes it. She doesn't want to know that, my son needs a wife so that he can have a future, he can have his own family. Every parent wishes that. Every parent works hard to see that to happen. But with narcissistic parents, no, they sabotage it. The son exists for the mother. The son doesn't have life, and the son cannot have a future as far as they are concerned. Now, we are coming to signs that you were raised by a narcissistic parents. What are the signs? One of the signs is that your parent would have been unreasonably and extremely possessive of you. She would have been prone to engaging in marginalized competitions with you. You would tell, because it happens more than once. It happens all your life. So you would know that my mom is competing with me. Oh my God. But they are powerless to do anything about it. She would have been afraid or worried about your independence. She would always have cast you inside their shadows, and always having unreasonable expectations you can't even seem to reach, raising the bar every time you try to accomplish anything. She raises a bar to make you fail. When you fail, you come back to her, you get her to do it for you. And that's what she wants. She wants you to fail and depend on her, then she continues to do things for you. So this can happen with father-daughter relationship, as I said in the beginning, but it is more common in a mother-son relationship. That's the reason why I dwelled on the mother-son. It's not because I'm biased. It's only because really, in real life, this type of mother-son is the one that is more prevalent. Because narcissism is more in men than women, for understanding's sake, that's the reason why I used mother-father. So I did say in the beginning that this teaching is very long. So I divided the video into two. So this is the end of video one, and then I will come to video two in a short while, and then we continue from where we stopped. And then we are going to be looking at the types of wrong mother-son relationships. That is our first point in video two. For now, goodbye, and just stay tuned and don't go away. More stuff is coming. So we need to know about these things, because even though they may not have affected us, I know about these things because I work in mental health, and I get to see people that come for help that have been affected by these things as well. And in real life, I have seen it, because when you know about it, you can pinpoint, you can, you just see, and you know what you are looking at. So, and I feel like people need to know, because they don't really have the time, they don't really know what they are dealing with. So, I don't want to sit with this knowledge. It's hardly taught, and so people need to know what to look out for. And then even in parenting, you need to look out how maybe you are a young person, or maybe how your parent is interacting with you, to have that knowledge. And then so you can develop strong boundaries and say no to some of the things in a nice way, and in a respectable way. So as I said, just stay tuned and wait for video two, which will come shortly. Thank you and bye.